the new war gave us a bunch of new weapons. We got the Rumblejack, we got the Sirocco, but most importantly, we got the Nataruk. Now, I'm sure many of you have picked up the Nataruk and put it down. I can't blame you. Maybe for better options, maybe for something more fun. Maybe you were waiting for a true end game destruction bow build. So this is the Nataruk Prime. This isn't your Daddy Hunhouse Nataruk. This is Nataruk Prime. So this bow is pretty much at max power. It's funny, I wanted this to be a corrosive bow, but the Riven I rolled. We're going to talk a little bit about Rivens for a second. So I would consider this a supreme god roll. A lot of people wouldn't, and let me tell you in great detail why I think you're wrong. So first off, we'll start at the bottom, the minus puncture. I see a lot of pleb trash, not experienced players being like, oh, well look, if you take it off, you get more puncture damage. Ooh. Why would I want a trash damage type like puncture? Why on earth would I ever want that as opposed to other damage types, most especially with viral, which I'm getting just from this. That's another thing. People are like, oh, well, you can't run primed cryo rounds. I don't really care. I'd rather have this do a dual stat than have one slot here and then another stat mod here or on another spot. Another another issue of contention where people say, this isn't a god roll, Riven. You don't want fire. I cannot tell you. Every time I share this Riven and say god roll, people are like, ew, fire rate. What? Yeah, their argument is that with extra fire rate, which obviously there's a reason I'm using this, they say that the extra fire rate makes it harder to get the charged shot, the perfect shot. So this is only a bit more critical chance, only a bit more critical damage. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're not hitting the perfect shot. And even with extra fire rate, which I think this is absolutely insane. I don't want crit damage. I don't want crit chance. We've already got solid stats of those. I want to diversify my income, diversify my damage types, essentially. If you've been playing Warframe a while, you know that just stacking crit and crit damage on a weapon for a million days, you know, you gotta have some spread. You gotta have some elemental. You gotta spread. You're gonna have better luck spreading your stats around, essentially. So a lot of people say that if you increase the fire rate, you won't be able to hit the charge shots. Like I said, it's inconsequential to hit the charge shots, and no, I 1000% can still hit my charged shots, my perfect charge shots. Not an issue. All of these, except for the few little shoddy shots, I'm hitting them. So, as you can see, because I have minus puncture, we're not getting like any puncture. You may be seeing the impact and you're like, ew, 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 there's impact. That's solely because this uncharged has force proc impact. So that's another inconsequential thing. So, and like I said, if you fully charge it up, it doesn't really matter. You're still hitting big numbers, especially because we have this extra fire rate. It matters even less, way less if you're hitting the charge shots, because I can just slam the devastation to my heart's content. This is a weapon I take to level cap pretty frequently because one, I think it's fun and engaging. I like shooting stuff with this and then finishing them off with a quick uncharged. It's a lot of fun finishing them up with a quick uncharged shot. So now before we go any further and demo anymore, let's get into the actual the mods aside from why this is a supreme god roll Riven. And in case I didn't make it clear, the minus puncture, we're getting slash now. A little bit of slash. We're getting the viral proc. It's the viral that's killing them in this specific build. You could try corrosive heat. I wanted to make this a corrosive bow for headshots. You can still get headshots with it, but It is what it is. So I don't have the stacks built up. I don't have the Gal mods built up on this, but all you have to do is shoot it once at any sort of fodder, and it's fully cranked. So we'll kill these guys real quick. I lied. We'll get into the mods in a second. Don't you worry. So actually, let's just do one shot. Now let's do a fully charged. This is not a perfect shot. Still killing a bunch of them without the perfect shot. And then there's a perfect shot. That should kill all of them. Now we get some stragglers. I guess I missed the first one. But that's the thing. Even if you don't kill them immediately, you're raining down fire. You're raining down righteous fury from the heavens above. And that's not even including, of course, you could have Arcane Avenger. You could have any sorts of other buffs for this roar, what have you, of course. But on this own, I take this to level cap on fucking Limbo. After Eximus changes, if you think Eximus changes killed Limbo, you're trash, you don't know what you're doing, and it shows. Eximus could hurt Limbo before the changes. Haha. So, part of it, a lot of people say, oh, why do you have Prime Shred on that? Why do you have Prime Shred on that? You know, there's a lot of doors in this game. It's nice to be able to shoot people through walls and objects. It's very handy. It's more of a convenience thing, but mostly it's because I really, really, really want that extra fire rate. Now, this is our flex slot, believe it or not. Despite it being a pretty primed mod, that's the flex slot. When you're reversing level cap, sometimes I'll swap it out for this, to be honest, when I level cap with it. Extra critical damage on kill. Sometimes. But part of it is convenience is king, having fun is king. It's much more fun to be able to rain down righteous fury. So we have Gal Chamber, Gal Aptitude. A lot of people have some misconceptions about this mod. It 1000%, I can assure you, I've had so many people be like, why do you have Gal Aptitude? This works with this weapon. It works very well. There's spreadsheets online that document it. You can go test it yourself. If you don't believe me, I don't care. We have 100 munitions. Pretty much every shot's going to be a crit. So essentially we have a 30% chance to apply critical. One day, if people stop using this weapon and this gets to 100%, we won't even have to have that, honestly. It'll be a nice, accoutrement, but it'll be nice to maybe one day have this be like 2 and this, or 0, and that'd be, that would be the ideal world. And then you could swap this out with, whatever the fuck you want. Critical delay. So that's part of why I would, without the Riven, if you wanted to build this for yourself, this is your primed cryo rounds, and then this is your fucking infected clip or whatever you want to put there. I would probably do infected clip over the 60/60 mods, but this weapon has solid slap and status. It's got slap and status on both of them. It doesn't change. I think it changes on, the uncharged shot. You can do quick shot builds with this. You can most certainly do quick shot builds. Mine are all fucked up because this was my quick shot build, but I swapped everything around. So we're gonna go and see without any speed mods, this is what you're firing. That's trash. I'm so sick of people sharing Nataruk builds, and they think that that's an acceptable fire rate. That's disgusting. That's not fun. That's garbage. That's trash. Your build is whack. Of course, we have Vigilante supplies. We don't need the ammo. It's just increasing our crit damage. Primary Merciless, of course. If you were going to go the Corrosive build, which is what I initially wanted, you can, of course, do Primary Deadhead. This weapon does not have a critical, or a headshot multiplier, I'm sorry. Does not have an innate headshot multiplier, but it can gain a headshot multiplier. So that is absolute. Even with my build, this will still slap, but this is just much more consistent because my slash procs will be killing a lot of stuff, and the procs don't count for the headshot. In addition to that, if I had that, if this was the corrosive types, I would swap this out for this 1000%. I love this mod. Everyone hates it, but I actually get headshots, so I really enjoy it. So that's essentially the long and short of the build, right? Critical chance, critical damage, and then these two are making up for this mod. Or you could even just look at it as this is making up for this. But this is essentially the end game top tier Nataruk Prime, not your daddy's Nataruk, it's your mommy's Nataruk. So part of it too is that this Riven has a very high estimate. I've had multiple people estimate it. It's estimated because it's not your typical crit shot, multi-shot, yeah, like, oh wow, 30% multi-shot, that would be really helpful, right? Oh wow, we have a quarter of a bullet coming out. Estimates for this, I've had, every estimate I've gotten, people say it's above 1,000 plat for something like this. You know, you're welcome to debate that. To your heart's content, I disagree. But some people estimate something like this is worth 1,000 because it's a dual stat with something that's awesome for making the weapon more fun, and it's minus puncture. You really want minus puncture on this. I see so many people be like, oof, that neg, oof, that neg. Like, you really don't know what you're talking about, and it's wildly clear to everyone who's in the know. So yeah, this is essentially the God Bow endgame build. This will slap pretty much everything. Now, we're gonna try this out. What frame should we put it on? Let's do Nyx, because we want something brain dead. I'm gonna take off my offensive build. We're gonna slap that fucker on. And we're just gonna take this into a quick mission. Don't worry, it's gonna be all in one take. Deal with it. Through the power of the PlayStation 5, we have very fast loading screens. If you're lying to yourself and you're on a PS4 and you think like, oh, I don't mind the loading screens, you know, it's only 45 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Now we're just going to go to Lua real quick. We're going to do a real quick conjunction survival because these are level 200 enemies. We're not going to go too long. I want to keep this short and concise, but I just kind of want to show you the type of damage we're doing, because 160 enemies, kind of hard to tell. But we're gonna go in. I should have done solo, but whatever. Look, we got a fellow Prime ship, that buddy there. He's got a mastery rank, you can tell by the emblem on the front, but his my gold is looking a little off, looking a little de-golden. So let's start this right up. We're gonna screw these guys over, and we're gonna quit halfway through the mission too. I don't care. I might do a build guide on my Nyx here, but it's kind of a well-kept secret. So let's see if we can get into some danger. Lord, of course, we're getting bad RNG on the tile set. Alright, we got a bunch of guys. Look at the devastation. The devastation that's being wrought is astronomical. I know we have other people shooting. I should have done it solo. But it's you can 1,000% level cap with this Nataruk. Let's try to find a little bit more combat before we call it quits. Now, I specifically like to, oh perfect, this room here. I love this room. I station myself here, and I rain my devastation down this hallway here. This is the danger zone. And look at some of these crits. Look at these numbers. Now my crit damage colors are different than yours. I have black crits as my red crits. So my red crits that you're seeing are not actually red crits. They're a lie. I'm fibbing to you. It has better readability, and it's a lot more satisfying to see the BBC. It's the BBC. The big black crits. I love the BBC. That's what they say, right? It's absolutely a devastating weapon. Once you get it charged up, it will just one-shot. This thing has phenomenal scaling, and like I said, if your first shot doesn't kill it, it doesn't matter. The second shot is gonna decimate it. Pretty much everything will get killed by the slash proc afterwards if you wait a little bit, but patience is for fucking losers, and we're Chad Sigma Stallions over here. Look at these numbers. These numbers are huge, they're astronomical, they're big, they're fat, they're juicy. The BBC. So that's pretty much it for this build. I just wanted to show you what a God Nataruk build looks like, because I'm deeply unsatisfied with the Nataruk builds I see. They skimp out on fire rate. They act like, oh, it's so hard to hit the perfect shots. It's so hard. No. Once you get the rhythm down, it's actually like you can't go back. It's so much nicer to just decimate with the quickness. Well, that's been this build guide. If you liked it, take this to the grave with you. It's our little secret.